really like your sweaters from Ann Taylor, Grace. I think it was really sexy. Thank you. I think the Lord is sexy.
Hi, my name's Joey.
Hi, my name is Dolores.
And this is, what's it called? 30-year-old teenager
podcast for people whose development was severely stunted.
Yeah. So, we are visiting the high school of Ulysses S. Grant High School as we talk about the secret life of the American teenager.
I just want to know where these kids got the money for these name brand pregnancy tests. Those are a lot of money. Even like 2008 money, that's like $15 a piece. As a uterus haver in this world, like I have had to buy that test as an adult a few times and go off brand. So that's just all I'm saying.
Well, again, they're like really rich kids. So they probably have like a credit card their parents just like give them to use, and their parents like, whatever. She spent $60 at Walgreens. Maybe she got bunch of sodas. I don't know.
Why did you spend $60 at Walgreens, Lauren? You want to talk about it, Lauren? That's probably why later in the season, Lauren's like, my parents won't let me talk to you. Well, why? Because I spent $60 on pregnancy tests. And they're really upset about it.
Yeah, so this show started in 2008, lasted for 5 seasons. Mm-hmm. It was on ABC Family, formerly known as Fox Family. Now it's known as Freeform. Mm-hmm. It used to be the headquarters for the best Christmas movies, but now that's Hallmark Channel that gets all the made for TV Christmas movies. The overall storyline of like the first few episodes is Amy Juergens. She got knocked up, and she's 15, and she doesn't know how to tell her parents and all this. And a bunch of teen drama and a bunch of wild show. It's one of the wildest shows that's ever existed, especially for like what it is as a teen drama. It's just wild.
Bebop, bonkers, woo-woo crazy. Nobody talks this way in the history of human.
Yeah, like it reminds me, well, like the things they say, the way they act, it's not real, and it reminds me of a David Lynch film, kind of.
Yes.
Because like both of them, nobody has conversations like that ever, but they work in this weird world. You know, you got the Lynch world and you got the Secret Life world.
Like, I like to imagine Reverend Camden driving to this sexually active town and poking holes in the condoms because that many people got pregnant using protection, birth control, and condoms. Again, I have a uterus, and it doesn't happen that easily. I swear to you. And I think that he's doing this. And like, oh, you should have been abstinent. That's the only way to prevent pregnancy, young ladies.
Maybe so.
I'm going to call it the Seventh Heaven universe, extended universe, because they both have the dairy shack. And you see the cop from Seventh Heaven who shows up as the coach in certain episodes. And it's hilarious. Like, I really think they're in the same universe.
I would think so too, but I know that Beverly Mitchell, I guess, joins the cast later on in this show. Mitchell is the girl from Seventh Heaven, like the middle kid.
Oh, that's right. I forget that Lucy shows up. I completely
That was her name. Yeah.
Yes, Lucy. I'm like, who the fuck is Beverly Mitchell? Lucy.
Let's talk about the actual theme song. I actually really like this theme song. It's
catchy.
Cheesy and dumb.
Falling in love is such an easy thing to do. Birds can't do it, bees can do it. Let's stop talking, let's do it. Let's fall in love. I like that Molly Ringwald used her chops to sing this. That's one of my favorites.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she did. I think so. Hold on.
She did?
Yeah, she did sing it. They were like, we can't get anybody to like do a song for this show, so you're up, Molly. She's like, yes, I get to sing.
Let's just kind of dive into the show. Episode 1, like a bit, you know?
Yeah.
This is, you know, the episode that Amy finds out that she's like pregnant. And again, this is the craziest first episode to like any teen drama ever. And I've seen like a lot of them, and they always like set up like the overall storyline. But the way that this first episode, it feels like you watched 5 episodes because so much stuff happens. Let me see. I didn't really like write anything down besides that. That it was like super crazy, and I'm trying to think what exactly all happens. Well, we meet all the characters, and Grace is introduced as being eye candy for like every teenage boy at this school. They just like stop what they're doing to like check her out, you know. Yeah, it's like Grace is a super religious person. She listens to her parents. You know, she follows whatever her parents say, which is cool because she's like 15. But her boyfriend Jack, who's secretly homosexual, he just doesn't know it yet.
I'm going to say that as canon. I know they never say that in the show, but just look at that boy. Like, look at his lips. Like, those are some DSLs.
Yeah, because like he tries way too hard. Because like, oh my god, there's this one scene I think in episode 5 where like he like takes his shirt off. It's like he's trying to like prove himself to like Grace, because like there's this whole thing with like Ricky was like shirtless, like saving Grace, but man. The ridiculous of a high school kid, 15-year-old, in like the middle of like the hallway, just taking his shirt off. I was like, this show is unreal. It's wild.
It was the first episode where they're introducing everybody, and Ricky does that weird seduction thing he does, like pushing her hair up and said, "Do you think I'd forget that night, Amy?" And it's like, you're gross. You are very gross. Teenage boys are disgusting. And just the whole Grace being the hot chick and Adrian having no discernible real dialogue until episode 5. Like episode 1, it's like beep beep boop boop sex. Like, hey, like what do you like? Sex. Like that's it. Like it's very trying to immediately painting Ricky as damaged. Like him having sexual urges is abnormal. Adrian's abnormal. Grace. Let's talk about episode 1 in the Christianity thing, where they're treating Christians like an ethnic group because we're Christian.
Like super strict Christians are almost like their own ethnic group when you think about it. Because I've known some, and they were weird, different beings.
But these were like kids at regular school who got haircuts and wore normal clothes from the store. They were like Methodists. They're not like woo-woo Pentecostals. And like these were like normal looking white children who are talking about themselves like they're in Reverend Camden's cult. Like, it's because we're Christians. Like, you're not oppressed. You're not. Like, and it's like, we're saving ourselves from marriage, or they repeat like 17 times.
Oh, yeah.
They do not. It's like episode 1, he's already getting a blowjob at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
So
again, but like how this show is paced. Again, I mentioned the first episode. It seemed like you saw 5 or 6 episodes, but all this is crammed in to this one episode, and that's how the show runs. Because spoiler alert, Amy's parents break up within the first few episodes. Like, shouldn't this have been like a 2-season storyline? But no, it like instantly like bam, this boy's out of here, and he's sleeping.
Go on, sorry.
But yeah, he's sleeping with Adrian's mom. It's like, I mean, God. It's just so crazy how quick this show goes, and there's just the storyline.
Like she's already pregnant, which I think they should have like had the episode where he gets her pregnant first, like had that hookup. They tease this shit and won't show you for like, I think it's like a whole other season. I can't remember the actual flashback to him knocking her the fuck up, which, you know, it's like he just spooged in her in 2 seconds. And I really wanted to touch on this topic. I don't think he's good in bed. They paint him as this hot high school boy fucking these girls. I think he's good at getting them in bed. And that I've known people like this. He would have had an old ass girlfriend in college if he was that good in bed. He wouldn't be sleeping with these 14-year-old girls. Adrian has no idea what sex is supposed to be. So she's letting this dude nut in her, like I'm assuming. And I was like, wow, he lasted a whole minute. This is the best I've ever had. And just nobody knows that he's bad in bed. Like,
so like maybe with the actual penetration, he's not that good at it. But what if he's great at foreplay?
Huh.
That's what I'm saying. That he could have been really good at like eating out and like stuff like that. So maybe he's like a 15-year-old. What's the word? Foreplay.
How would they say it on the show? Oh, they would just say it. He does good oral sex. They would repeat it 80 times. Every time somebody does something on this show, it's repeated. The Amy, she's pregnant, right? Yep. Pregnant. And just like Amy's pregnant. Like, we had sex. They don't say doing it. They don't say horning it up or whatever the kids say. They say we had sex. It drives me crazy because it's gross. Sex is a gross word. He put his penis in my vagina. And it just, I think they're trying to make the act of sex unsexy. Like, but they're still showing Adrian's boobs and like somebody on the I think the costume department was perverts, except for Amy. Ugh. I loved her in her little band uniform with the positive pregnancy test, and her mom is all like, I made you pot roast. You like the pot roast? Like, you're attentive enough to have dinner ready for your kid, but you're not attentive enough. Also, I would have sued that band camp. I want to say that band camp was letting Ricky fuck all these girls. There's probably other pregnant girls from other states. Like, he just commented at everybody.
And then, okay, so like that's one thing that's like weird too, that Ricky is in the band. He plays the drums, which for the usual like dude ho, they're not usually band geeks, but different stereotype here because he's in the band and he's hoeing it up. And it just doesn't, usual teen dramas, they don't work that way. Usually the band geek is this loser virgin who's just kind of like, I don't know, a nerd. But Ricky's not.
They didn't know how to make a plot device. They could have had him sneaking over from the troubled boys camp to to this co-ed band camp, which would have been way more fun. Like, I gotta find me some stupid girls, and then he goes and finds the dumbest one in the bunch and comes in her, like, just 2 seconds. That's what she said. So I'm trusting Amy. Oh, hold on.
How do you feel that? What's that?
Sorry, you had mentioned earlier that you thought that Amy was downplaying the sex, but she stutters when she lies. When she told Ben that the sex only lasted 2 seconds, I'll have to review the scene. She didn't stutter.
I had sex with Ricky. It was awful sex, though. I mean, it only lasted like 2 seconds. I wasn't even sure it was sex until this happened. What am I gonna do?
So I think that she was telling you the truth, and it might be the most clever writing in the show.
That's actually like a really good thing to like pick up on. So yeah, maybe so then.
Like,
that's very wise.
I will review the scene and make sure I'm right, because she would have been like, it only lasted 2 seconds and I did not come. And go on.
I was gonna say, Ricky's dad, like, I guess, raped him. I guess, I don't know. That's one thing that we learned in like the first episode too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They want to paint him as a damaged goods, and that him being horny is not normal. If you're horny, not normal, bad. That's
again, I'm sorry for like any listeners who are thinking we're going all over the place there, but again, I'm going to say something that is out of context of what we're currently talking about. But Adrian, again, there's I don't want to be call it racist or whatever, but like, she has a Spanish guitar theme song. Whenever she like shows up, it's like, that's just a little racist. Why? You know, no one else has their own theme, but like she does. It's like this smoldering whatever Latino girl.
I don't want to bring up the fact that like the creator loves her stereotypes. She likes to put people in their boxes. She puts Ben's two friends, Hank and Alice, George, Alice. Nobody, their names are not important. They're irrelevant. They have no other characters than being Asian stereotypes. Like Alice, according to my computer, the statistics for teenage pregnancy are this. Well, then maybe you should compile the documents to sue the condom company that this town is failing. But yeah, Alice and Henry. Adrian is, if they had made a white girl the whore of the show and the Hispanic girl the virgin, which is way more likely as we're both half Hispanic. There are a lot more conservative Hispanic girls in the world than you would have a really slutty Christian white girl. And if you did have that, then parents would have been upset and writing letters. But because they made her Mexican American or Latina, however they make her overemphasize it, like with the Spanish guitar, it's like, oh, okay, she's a Spanish, she's a slut. And it was just like, because most Hispanic girls will marry their first boyfriend, and like they're less likely to be like Adrian. It would be more likely that Grace to be showing off her titties and being like, I don't care what my parents say. I love sex. Air horns going, like Adrian trying to seduce the counselor. Like,
oh yeah, man.
Let's talk about that.
Oh man, what you say exactly? So like the counselor, he's brand new to the school. And he's kind of what do you call it? He's the guy that like drives certain plots to like move along like the storyline.
About that.
Yeah, because like characters like especially Ben, which we've not talked about Ben yet, but anyway,
a lot to say about
but yeah, so like the counselor goes up to Adrian and I forgot how he starts this conversation. I think he kind of asks her like, how's school going or something like that or whatever. But then what does she say exactly? I know she like says,
he's like, what are you thinking about doing after school? He's like, I want to go to NYU because they heard they have a good sex program. And he's like, okay, well, your grades are really good. Your PSAT scores off the chart. And then she's basically like, I like sex, just like that. Like, there is no pretext. There is literally.
Oh yeah, yeah. Her like, she wants to get on with this counselor, and like a part of me, if I can remember back when I was originally watching the show, again, if this is a spoiler, I don't know. Dolores, do you remember if the counselor is Adrian's dad?
No, her dad is a very pretty Hispanic man that I will also put in the coded as gay categories. Like, Adrian, you was my daughter. Like, just beautiful eyes and huge lips, and just trying to like make him look like Adrian, but like he just looks like he looks too pretty, like just like the Jack syndrome of like this beautiful, gorgeous man beast that the counselor, I think, becomes like Defense Against the Dark Art teacher. Like if you know Harry Potter at all, the Defense Against Dark Art changes every year. And I think that happened with the counselor. Like at one point it's Blossom or some bullshit. And Mr. Molina was, I think you're right, was just there to drive the plot and kind of flesh out characters a little bit. Like you first get to see old Ben Boykovich in the counselor's office, like, I love her, and she's gonna be my wife. And but
oh man.
There's a lot to say about that fucking moron. Everybody hates Ben.
But yeah, like Ben is one of the all-time worst TV characters ever.
Classic incel. I think he birthed the incel movement. Ben is a nightmare. I like to do a segment I call "Shut Up, Ben," where he just says something stupid, like when Amy's like, "I'm a whore," and he says,
"Well, you're my whore." No, I'm sorry. It was a joke. I just meant I love you.
No, you're my whore. And it's like, shut up, Ben.
And then like because like Ben, like, oh my God, this boy says I love you way too quick to Amy. It's like their first date or something like that. He says, I love you. And then like this boy says it like nonstop. If you were making a drinking game on this show and you said every time Ben says that, take a shot, you would be passed out halfway during the episode because he says, I love you like 50 times, like Amy, each episode. And it's
bad.
It's bad.
But Ben is just terrible. He proposes to her in my absolute favorite scene, besides the abortion clinic scene, is when Big Sausage King Leo lets himself into Amy's father's, Mr. Jurgen's office, and basically is like, let your daughter marry my incel of a son. And it's like, why? And he says, he misses his mother. It's like, you can't like buy.
Yeah, it's weird that this guy Leo just wants to like have his son get like married at 15. Remember, they were 15. They don't look it because they're like all like 25. But he tells Amy's dad like, "Hey man, we are financially set up, to like give her a good household, good life. So just like, come on, man, let your daughter marry my 15-year-old son. Should be the
known each other 2 weeks."
Yeah.
They said that when he had that stupid picnic where he proposed to her, which I also enjoy because he sees these couples who are in love, and Amy sees an old couple get into a slap fight.
I love that.
And she's just terrified. And when you're that scared, anything anybody says to you makes sense. So this poor little hormone crazed 15-year-old girl has a baby in her tummy and is just like, okay, maybe that sounds like a good idea. And then like, wait, this is bonkers banana pants. I need to talk to somebody. And
here's why Ben's a really bad guy too, because like he is a mental abuser of like Amy. Like he sees Amy is going through all these issues, and like he just kind of like, hey, I'm here, let's get married. And he like just forces that idea on her like nonstop. He's like, hey, I love you, let's get married. He says this nonstop that he like, because she's in this fragile state that she like falls for it, kind of, you know? So like Ben's a mental abuser.
Oh, he's sweet. He's like, wait, he's not sweet. He's evil, because there's a lot of men in this world who do this to women who are pregnant or like are single moms who are just stressed out and tired. And then they're just hey, I got money. I got a place to stay. You come here. I promise I won't murder you. And it's like, you promise? And maybe Leo is like, if I can get my crazy son a wife, then he won't murder a bunch of people. Like that was Leo's thinking. Like, I have a time bomb on my hands.
But yeah, but like I'm just confused. Like, was he designed to be the girl? I mean, the guy that like young like viewer, like female viewers are like, man, that's the type of boyfriend I want, you know?
I feel like that's how it started off, but I know later on in the series, like, they just turned him into a complete psycho. And the first season, I think they were trying to paint him as sweet, but Ricky, like, you immediately begin to empathize with him because he's had his tragic backstory, man, like, and doesn't have parents, and he's just trying to like deal with life with the tools that he has, versus Ben, who has, as you said, emotionally abuses this young girl who is in a very dangerous situation. There are people who go after pregnant women. They're one of the most vulnerable people, like, not to get political, but one of the most murdered population are Amy's. Like, these like pregnant women, people just kill pregnant women, and not to laugh at that, but this horrific thing happens to pregnant women a lot. Yeah, it's bad.
Well, like we're talking about Amy's 6-week pregnancy. Showing. So again, like I don't know too much about when women start showing, but it does seem like it's after 6 weeks.
I was 6 weeks pregnant, and I had no symptoms. I took a pregnancy test, and I'm like, it's going to be negative. It's going to be the best day ever. It's like, wait 1 goddamn minute. So 6 weeks pregnant, most people are not going to be throwing up. It's different for everybody. You're certainly not going to be showing at the carnival, and you know, it's not like, and she was probably more throwing up because of nerves than anything else. I want to touch on this show purposely didn't tell you how far along she was. Like, it kept that vague. So you're at the abortion clinic, which, you know, it was bothersome. The abortion clinic seen it because they're all like, it's a free clinic, which is not true. There is nowhere in the United States of America you can just walk in and like scan your America card and get a free abortion. I needed antibiotics when I was under it.
Parents have to be there, or like at least a person over 18, not 2 other 15-year-old friends.
And she's already in the room, like trying to have this dramatic, like, oh, she almost had her baby sucked out. And they say the word baby. They never say the word fetus. Abstinence is pushed. Shailene Woodley complained about this. The cast apparently would protest some of these bullshit storylines. Like, this is dumb. But at one point they had Sarah Palin's daughter skateboard or whatever the fuck her name was on the show, because they were like pumping this abstinence is cool, yo, look at me, I didn't do abstinence and I got pregnant twice. And it's like, shut up, Bristol Palin, that's her name. Yeah. I think in real life, it's like all these kids showed up to the abortion clinic. Like, they would have called the parents. I don't care what state you're in. It was trying to create panic with parents watching. Like, your daughter might be just randomly getting her free abortion at the free abortion clinic, where anybody can walk in with a gaggle of tea. Everybody got an abortion that day. All 8 girls that Ricky got pregnant just walk in there and get pregnant in this universe, or get unpregnanted.
Episode 3, it's like, if you get a gallon of gas, you get free tampons. It's like, I've never seen that ever in my entire life.
They never give you free tampons anywhere, unless the shitty, crappy ones you get like in some bathrooms at places. But no, they never give you. And those things are, the good ones are expensive. I'm not going to talk about tampons 3 hours later. And that's my thoughts on tampons. They needed a plot device to show that Amy hadn't gotten her period. And the mom is so inattentive that, you know, I think there's a lot of moms who like mark their calendars, which are good parents, but Anne and George are having their marital difficulties. And I think that's supposed to be one of the reasons that Amy's mom's been distracted, because her dad is getting his dick sucked by the local sex lady, which I guess is what they call Adrian's mom. She has no personality other than the sex lady, because on the course of this show, she sleeps with George, who she knows is married, and of course is supposed to have panic about single mothers, like single mothers out to have sex with your ugly husbands. Ooh, watch out, ladies. George is fucking ugly. Even Amy's like, who would have sex with dad if they didn't have to? Like, her mom is legally obligated to have sex with this ugly man. Context of this show filled with pretty boys like Ricky and Jack. You know, just gorgeous boys. You have this like monkey face, receding hairline furniture salesman, and he's the one getting ganked. You don't think Adrian's mom would have been tapping Ricky? That's how that shit goes in real life.
It seems like if memory serves me correct, I might be wrong, but it seems like she does get with Ricky like later on in this season, or like season 2. It just seems like that happens. But I don't remember exactly.
It does. I think that would like put this show into full on pedophile status. Like, it already like straddles the line, for lack of a better word.
It is kind of a petty show, like a pedophile type show, because like Adrian, again, always with the push-up bra. Always like,
oh my God,
like, titties. And then she's supposed to be 15. I know the actress was, I think, 23 or something like that. But the idea of like the viewer seeing this 15-year-old, yeah, it's a little pedophile-ish, you know? Because again, most like teen dramas, the main cast are supposed to be like 17 or like 18, so a bit closer to like legal age. This is 15-year-olds, like freshmen, you know?
I thought Adrian was like 16 or 17, but you know, it's kind of just splitting hairs at that point, because they're
Do you mean like the character?
The character. I thought she was like 16 or 17, because she can drive. Like, and she has a car, and that's a plot device.
But then why is she sleeping around with a? But why is she sleeping around with a 15-year-old Ricky then?
See, that's what I don't get, because again, a girl like Adrian, she would have an older boyfriend. That's kind of how that goes in that kind of environment, that you have creepy dudes who hang around high schools driving their green Pontiacs, just looking to pick up these poor girls who don't know any better. And so she would just go sleep with a movie theater employee and be all like, my hot older boyfriend, he's like, 27, and like, he's real nice, and I like sex, That's how that would go in real life. There is no way a girl who looked like Adrian would be sleeping with 2-second Rickies. That just is not. That's what I'm calling him now. It's 2-second Ricky.
2-second Ricky. Yeah, and like, what was I gonna say? I was gonna say something about Adrian also. Well, you know what? Adrian, within like the first 5 episodes, again, each episode on this show, it feels like you're watching multi episodes. Like, so many things happen, but like Adrian does like become one of my favorite characters, because you learn that she's smart, whatever, and then you see her mom. You kind of get like a little bit of a backstory, and the fact that she always wants Ricky to like stay with her. So that means that she definitely wants someone. She needs love. She doesn't feel love, so that's why she's like whoring around at this high school. But again, I didn't even realize until like you pointed out that she's the oldest one. Mm-hmm. And I was like, why is she with Ricky?
And it's like at least this town, it did not like have any older dudes picking Adrian up and like, moving her into their house, because unfortunately in Adrian situations, and I've seen this happen multiple times, or this poor girl doesn't have a parent around or is underparented, and it's like, this guy's gonna like let me stay at his place and it's gonna be so nice, and it's like everything's gonna work out and I'm gonna be loved and go to college and everything's wonderful, and wait, he's a monster, oh no, he killed me. And and that's just Adrian's situation is way more tame than it should be. Like, she's running around giving blowjobs, but at least there's not like some 30-year-old dude like moving her into his condo. Like, at least that's not happening. Like, these kids are not as bad as they could be at all. Like, where are the real bad children on this show? Like, where are the heroin users? Like, where are they? Ugh. They just stuck to sex. Like, I think you had like Jack drinking beer, but it was like downplayed. That's like way further in the series. You don't have like a serious addiction. They wanted to stick to their whole pro-abstinence brand, like that condoms don't work, birth control doesn't work, but you know what works? Jesus. And they just it was bonkers. I really actually like George's acting. I'm giving him grief because he's the least attractive male, but his.
I wanted to like mention that earlier when we're talking about George, but George, man, whenever he like goes off on his like little rants, it's one of the greatest things about this show. Again, weird acting. No one would talk like this. But like, man, when George is like doing his like parenting time.
Oh it's 5 minutes before he runs off to Vegas to go have sex with a flight attendant. Yeah,
it's like crazy. He just like he's not yelling at like Amy or like Ashley, but it's just this weird voice he does. Like, I don't know like how to describe it unless you watch the show.
What else do we need to cover? We need to talk poor Molly Ringwald. This is where she wound up, was basic cable.
But again, like she was one of the reasons I like watched the show back in like 2008, because ABC Family like pushed her as like promotions to like get the show going, to get like viewers in, because again, she's from that whole 80s what's it called, the Breakfast Club group, Brat Pack.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
They really tried pushing that bullshit. Like, it's the Brat Pack.
What's Molly's character name? Anne, right?
Anne, yeah. Anne and George, yeah.
So, like, she does make these little references to, like, her like, past Brat Pack movies. A little bit of kind of a tip of the hat to those movies. Mm-hmm. Every so often, whenever she, like, talks to Amy about being, like, a teenager and all of this, which I thought that was pretty cool, you know? But it seems like Anne's character really changes a lot, and she doesn't do like the whole mom type speech later on, if I remember correctly.
She kind of switches gears. They kind of like try to like develop her, and the problem is that in a show with so many characters like this, it's hard to flesh out and develop everybody. They do a really good job with Ricky. This is ultimately becomes Ricky's story. Like, and it should have focused more on him and would have been a more interesting concept. Like this poor, damaged child that has to grow into a man very quickly and, you know, rises to the occasion. It's actually, they do a really good job with him.
No, like, I was going to say that Ricky is like, Ricky is like originally painted as like, I guess this bad boy, this like villain, but then he is instantly a character you are secretly kind of like rooting for it, because like he does have that damaged background, and you see his side, and you want him to be with Amy, and you want him to say, hey, you know what, Ben, get out of here, you know? And,
yeah, you want him to punch Ben in the face, like almost immediately, like fucking knock him out and go take your fetus home, you know, put it in a cradle, because a 6 weeks fetus is an 8-pound baby in this universe. Like, I'm sorry, I don't mean to touch on that again. Very frustrating, but Ricky becomes this bright spot of you want him to be better. As soon as Ernie Hudson gives him the speech, his foster mom telling him you have patterns, which is more lucid moments in the show, like apart from all the craziness that this is a situation a lot of like abused children find themselves in, growing up quickly, like having to get jobs, having to navigate school. And I think they should have just had him the main character instead of Amy chewing the scenery and doing that goofy stutter. Like, I took care of it. What do you mean you took care of it? I don't care. Like, abortion is this like sad whisper, and like, no, it probably would have been better for everybody. Like if they did a shmush-mortion, but of course it wouldn't have been a show. And I have to remind myself that there just wouldn't have been a show if it wasn't for that stupid fetus. And I guess just these two idiots having, that's the point, you know. And Ricky, of course, the actor's good, and you know he does this kind of Jack Nicholson impersonation, but he does a monologue to Adrian's father in like season 2 when he's like, "You walked it," or I think it's late season 1. The best thing you ever had, man. And it's like, you can't handle fatherhood, man. And just,
this was episode 4, or was it episode 5? Episode 4 basically starts with because like Ricky was trying to get Grace and Jack to do these weird dates, but like he would drive them and then drop them off and whatever. Like,
I don't get what he was getting out of this, by the way. I don't know if he was trying to sleep with Grace or not.
So like he would drop off Grace and Jack. Well, Grace like meet up with Jack, and like Jack would drop off Grace. Like Ricky like pick her up. But then Ricky would sleep with Adrian. So one night he didn't sleep at Adrian's place. He wakes up late, and Adrian does this whole like weird shirt thing.
Takes his shirt.
Yeah.
Stupid plot contrivance. I'm gonna start saying that to highlight these idiot things that they just need to drive the plot, like early social media, this shirtless boy and this ass-kicking cheerleader. Let's show it again, boys. Roll up your MySpace.
Why did they show that video so many times? Like,
what is happening in this town?
Like,
there was
why is this news channel like they showed it like about 20 times, and then like the main like anchor is like, there's like issues like Syria and stuff like that, but you know what? Let's roll that video one more time of like.
This was during a serious financial crash, literally of 2008. I think this aired like around that time. It was fall or July, whatever. But there was a serious financial stuff going on. It was like an election year. That was when Barack Obama ran for president, and this news, this makes me think this is part of the Camden universe, because the Camdens have everything censored. So everything is pleasant and happy, and the only thing they're allowed to show is occasional security camera footage. That's all they're allowed to have.
I will say this. When Ashley confronts her dad as he's like leaving, not gonna lie to you, I teared up a bit. I was like, ooh, that got me.
It's a good scene. Even little No Mouth is like, you can't leave. How could you leave at a time like this? And, she can't act, but it's a good scene. Like, I think that you can't leave that. Girl, because she looks like, you can't leave in a time like this. And her mom's like, what do you mean a time like this? And like, Molly, take an acting class. Like,
that's rude. Legend.
And she plays an inattentive housewife mom. You don't got a job. You should have been monitoring your daughter's cycle. That's what you should have been doing, and take her to that free clinic that exists. And nobody ever has an abortion at, because Reverend Camden would not allow it. That was a good scene. I think they picked Ashley because she looked like Angelina Jolie. Like, she plays a younger version of her in a Disney movie that came out a couple years ago. And I think that she had the looks of the time. And they were like, she looks like none of the people in that family. Like, Amy's just like...
Oh, yeah. She looks... speaking of, she looks... Man, I never, thought about that. Well, maybe I did, back in the day. But, yeah, she does not look related to any of them.
Oh, because Anne is fair with red hair. George is ugly. That's the only thing you can say. George is ugly. And I'm being really mean to her dad. Like, he's not the worst looking person.
You really are.
But just compare. Look at all these beautiful, people. And, they just rounded up her dad, the cast list of, Elaine's boyfriends on Seinfeld. I'm pretty sure, almost sure he was one of the Sponge dudes. I don't know. But he's acted in sitcoms. He was around, and he's a good actor. But yeah, Ashley looks like Molly Ringwald redhead. Why didn't they give her a pretty redheaded daughter? And that goes back to this show having ethnic girls as the slutty, because Ashley looks like an ethnic white. That's the only thing I can say. She looks she looks Romanian and gorgeous, and versus Amy, who has that weird turtle face or whatever. I can't Joe Camel
all these these younger actresses, the younger girls Ashley Simpson and stuff like that. They had these weird faces, and
the hair. The side bangs, it didn't frame her face right, but it was.
But you had people like Grace also, and Adrian. They have these weird, I don't know what you call it, but
Bratz. They made Adrian up like a Bratz doll, which bugs me. They had the lip gloss is dripping, and it's super distracting. It's not their fault. The costuming, the makeup.
Yeah, maybe that's just what it was, because I remember watching the show when it was going on, and And I had like friends at that time who thought that girls like that were super attractive. Like my boy Brian thought that Ashley Simpson was like the hottest thing ever. It's like, are you serious? Because she's gross looking, but no offense to her. So, like I said,
is she a bad person? Then it's okay to rip on her if she's a bad person. Look, I'm gonna blame the hair because you had that fucking choppy side bangs. We all had that. I had the side bangs. We all had it. The swoop.
I mean, that was like the time, so you know.
Yeah, it's like, and it made it even worse if you had the wrong face for that. It just made it worse. And so they all had the same hair, despite what they looked like. They would put different styles of makeup on people that probably didn't go with what they looked like. They had the clothing. Let's get into the costuming. Let's talk about these weird smocks. They kept putting Amy in smocks. The picnic scene with Ben, and then later on in her house, she's in this yellow.
Oh yeah, the yellow
with like these sleeves. Looks like she's about to be the first teen mom in space. That's what it looks like. They're gonna shoot her off in a rocket ship, and she's gonna pop it out in zero gravity because it's like looks like the Jetsons. These like hovering sleeves, and it's like ridiculous. Like, who chose this outfit? Like, and Ben proposed to her dressed like a fucking maniac. Like, my girlfriend is insane, but I want to marry her and save her from these terrible outfit choices. And I'm like, did Shailene choose this outfit, or was this costuming? Like, I almost want to like write a letter like, hey, Shailene, I'm doing a podcast. Did you pick these clothes, or did somebody shove you in this? Like, was this a choice? Because sometimes the kids pick the clothes.
I'm tempted, like, well, I know she like kind of popular, but like maybe we can like message her on like Instagram or something. Hey, were these your choices or are they the wardrobe people? Because
it's funny face comments.
Man,
it's not your fault, Shailene.
I'm sorry, listeners, but going back to like the counselor.
Mr. Molina, what could be more exciting than Mr. Molina? It's Madison, who everybody had a crush on this. I thought he was ugly, but go on. They thought
he is 100% on Ben's side. That he talks to like Amy, trying to get like Amy to confess that she's pregnant and all this. And like basically whose baby is it? And because like Ben like, you know, says, hey, Mr. Molina, I love this girl and all this. I want to marry her. Ask her, you know, if she's pregnant, if she's blah blah blah.
Nobody called George and Anne. Like, this is what's bugging me. The doctors, the medical doctors for their child didn't call her. And they even, they would have, if she had gone to the doctor, they would have gotten a detailed list of what the insurance was for. Like, I'm a lady that's been to the doctor for this, not to brag, but they send you a thing and they email it now. But back then, she would have gotten a letter or a phone call and been like, your daughter's pregnancy test that came back positive, as you know, mister. What? I don't know, my baby's pregnant.
Again, that's what makes the show
bonkers. Banana cuckoo pickup is the best way to describe this show.
Yeah, again, the fact that is a weird background storyline that, as far as I remember watching the show, like back in the day, I don't think they really do anything about that besides just mention it, you know?
Yeah, and it's just like, you know, you should have been like, where did I get this insurance from? Because it would have detailed that there was a pregnancy test and ultrasound, breastfeeding, because apparently the 6-week fetus is a 2-year-old child in the universe of this show. And there would have been a paper trail. And it's like nobody told. Did everybody in the town hate Anne and George? Because Anne appears to have no real friends. Nobody is sitting her down because everybody in town knows Amy's pregnant, by episode 3 or 4. Because she's showing already. And they your daughter is obviously pregnant.
I was a bit pudgy, you know?
The pudgy! She's just a bit pudgy. It's like, shut up, Ben! No, my favorite scene, I love Ben and Leo together. Like, he becomes the logical mouthpiece for Ben's insanity. Ben is crazy. He is insane. But his father is rich. And in this world and in that universe, if you have money, you're not crazy, you have money. And so Leo comes in, like, swinging to the counselor, like, who broke his heart? Like, that's what I was saying, Dad. Let's go get some pizza. It's like, are you trying to buy Amy from the counselor? Get the counselor on board, go to George, give him a couple steaks, bing, bang, bada, bing.
Yeah, Leo's, when he was with the counselor, it's weird. Like, why is Leo trying to sell? He's trying to, like, pitch this idea to, like, almost anybody that, hey, he needs to marry Amy at 15. You know, we got the money. He's got the money. We can, like, provide Amy for, like, a good life. She don't do anything.
We get lonely in that big old house. Let's have your daughter. It's like, what are you getting in on this, Leo? Like, hey, let's talk about Leo. Like, why are you trying so hardly to get a 15-year-old daughter in your house? Because you're not only going to marry them, you're going to move her into your house. There's no like, oh, Ben can live with you. It's you specifically want to direct this underage girl into your home. Let's talk about that, Leo. He's very likable. I love Leo. He's my favorite, probably my favorite, like, side character. Like, I just love the moments of him just speaking for Ben. My son will be taking your daughter now. Goodbye, everybody. Just, like, tries so hard to make this happen. And then George has a moment of being a good father. He's like, she's 15 years old. She can't get married. That's a lucid moment. Like, there are lucid moments when the show actually says the good, normal thing and then just steamrolls over. Because eventually he does, spoiler alert, marry Ben off to somebody on the show. The show, again, romanticizes the wrong thing. Marriage is hard work. Like, everybody I know that's gone from living together and dating and officially getting married has said it's completely different. Like, you're basically becoming a fused person that you have to learn to walk with four legs. And this show is ignoring that. It's a very adult thing that most adults aren't ready for. Marriage is difficult. And, like, these are children.
As, like, a teenager, when I was back in my teen years, whatever, 50 years ago.
1984.
1984, when I was graduating high school.
Your flashback show is like, it was 1984.
But yeah, like back in high school, I also thought, you know, I had this different image of, like, what marriage was and like what it meant. And as I got older, you know, I started to realize things like, marriage is not this glamorized thing that movies and, like, TV shows kind of do it. So, like, that's why I guess I could see why Ben wants to marry her, because, like, Ben just knows this, like, glamorized version of, like, marriage, and plus it's like his dad is, like, pushing for it. He's like, hey, Ben, you marry her yet? You sleeping with her yet?
Is she pregnant? Yeah, she having a baby. Like, he says it so casually. Like, why are you, like, acting like this is normal? And that's one thing that, like, crazy people do, is that there's a lot of gaslighting. Let's talk. We talked about Ben being an abuser. Leo gaslights really well to take away the charm and the presence of this old Guido. Him being like...
That's why, like, Leo is one of the worst side characters, because, he does...
I love him for the craziness, but not for as a human, is what I should put that disclaimer.
Like, it makes sense to, like, that's Ben's dad, because Ben's crazy. His dad's crazy. He does gaslight him a lot. Like it's almost like I was like, I picture Leo's like, Leo just like walks into like Ben's room. And he's like, "Hey man, you touch your titty yet?" No. And Ben's like, "No." And he's like, "Son, come on, do it.
You're the Sausage King's son. You should have already touched a titty. Have you?
You're a sausage kitty. You're a sausage king."
Did you get your dick wet yet, Ben? Have you gotten the dick wet? No, they would never say dick wet. Did she suck your penis with her mouth? And
like, Ben was like, "Not yet, Dad. I don't know." It's like, come on, son. Get it sucked, you know? You're a sausage prince. Because like he's a sausage king, so you know, it's prince.
Yeah. It's like the gaslighting he does with George, sitting in this like other businessman's office, trying to convince him that 2 15-year-olds getting married is a good idea. There are people I know in their 30s who should not be married. Like, we talked about that already, but like just him being like, just give me the daughter. Can you imagine him being in a relationship with a woman and doing that? Being like, cheating. What do you mean cheating? I just slept with somebody else. That's not cheating. That is cheating. I don't think so. Well, maybe you're right. Because like I've had conversations with people like that where they do something terrible and then it's like they do I'm going to call it the Leo. Let's call it the Leo. It's like, that's not how that happened. I'm like, no, I was just there. That's exactly what happened. You sure? I don't think so. Let my son get married to your daughter. Come on, George. And they all start thinking it's a good idea, and they don't know that these are two very abusive men. And even I have that problem when I'm watching the show, is the cult nature of this show. It's like it makes you kind of like, maybe that wouldn't be so bad. They do have a lot of money because all rich people are nice. Like, all rich people are good and nice and would never hurt anybody. Let this underage girl move in and Ben and Leo just pass Amy back and forth on a nightly basis. It's just, gross.
Oh, man.
Penis under the fat, Mr. Boykovich. What I'm going to do.
Oh, jeez. But yeah. Let's see. What I want to bring up before, because I guess we should wrap up the first episode now.
This is all the first episode.
I would say, listeners, whoever you guys are, we are a brand new podcast, and we will continue to do the show, The Secret Life. Not The Secret Life of Zach and Cody. That's a different show.
The Secret Life of Pets. I've watched both movies so far.
But so yeah, I don't know how to wrap this show up. Our next episode 2, will be about The Secret Life of American Teenager, episode 6 through 12 or whatever, 10.
Yeah.
It's the first episode. I thought it went pretty well. 500. We'll have it down packed.
It'll be in my 40s by that point.
Yeah. So this has been episode 1 of 30-year-old teenage podcast. So I'll do this. Bye from Joey.
Bye from Dolores. Watch this bonkers banana pants show. Check out Euphoria. Watch them together while doing drugs. I'm probably going to try that next time for the next 6 episodes. Secret Life of the American Teenager on acid. Why not? Yay!
All right.
Scared.
I gotta use to buy some soup ad. Yeah.